Fox Local. Download it on your smartphone, download it on your smart TV. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Alrighty. Hi there, everyone. How's it going? Hopefully you're having a great Monday so far. Had a great rest of your weekend. TJ Springer here in the Storm Center for our brand new 3 o'clock show, Fox 35 Weather Plus. We're talking a little bit about fall today. If you did not know, fall officially begins today. It began actually just about 40 minutes ago at 2:19 this afternoon. So maybe you're feeling extra autumnal and you want to go get maybe a pumpkin spice latte or something along those lines. I think it'll be great to get out there if you can, and we'll talk a little more about that. Brooks and Jess have a little story on the fall, the brand new season, and kind of how it works when we talk about our seasons astronomically. So we'll talk a little more about that. Our question of the day also relating to fall. So again, we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, we're also live on Fox Local. If you have any questions, be sure to throw them down. Would love to know what you're thinking. Would love to know if you are a fall fan, because I have to say, fall is actually my favorite season, despite us living in a place like Florida where we really don't get fall. We might see some of the palm fronds dropping off the trees. That's about all we're going to get here in Central Florida. But there we go, the autumnal equinox. And when you talk about fall beginning, and when you say equinox, or when you hear the word equinox, it's essentially meaning equal. And for us, it kind of means equal parts day and night. Now, if you remember earlier in the month, September 1st to be exact, that's actually when we began meteorological fall. And that's a little bit different. That's actually more of a tale of fall itself, seasonally speaking. It's based on the temperatures. It's based on climatology. And for meteorological fall or weather fall, it starts on September 1st and goes through November, as meteorological winter begins on December 1st. So a little tale of the difference between astronomical fall, or the fall that we see on the calendar, and the fall that actually kind of has a better showcase of what we feel each and every season. So please weigh in. Are you excited for the fall? Do you like fall? Are you watching us from afar and you're in a place that might feel more like fall today? Because that is not certainly the case here in Central Florida. In fact, it's actually going to be, I would say, warmer than normal by just a touch. All right, I am pulling up Facebook right now. It says, I see 20 of you watching, so thanks for hopping on. Paula saying happy fall. Thank you, Paula. I appreciate it. I am happy. I am really happy it's fall. So I wore orange today for that reason. Okay, now speaking of fall, I was talking about Brooks and Jess just a little bit ago, and they actually did a little story on fall and how things look well beyond here in Central Florida, the whole earth, and how it tilts and how that plays a role in our season. So let's swing things over to
Well, this is the first week of fall, and Monday, the 22nd of September, the first day of fall. But what is fall? What does it really mean? Well, in the scientific world, it's called the vernal equinox. Vernal, of course, means spring, and equinox, as you might imagine, means equal. And in this case, it's all about equal amounts of sunlight between the northern and the southern hemisphere. So let's look to space and bring this graphic full to talk about where we are on the timeline and why it matters. Well, the autumnal equinox happens when the Earth's axis is tilted neither toward nor away the sun. So there's no favor between the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere as far as who's getting a longer day. You see, if you're tilted toward the sun, you get a longer day. That's our summer. It's an equal amount of daylight and darkness at all latitudes, whether you're in the southern tip of South America or the northern tip of North America. And that matters because it's a transition to a point when we'll ultimately tilt away from the sun, and that represents our winter months. And you can see it on this real-time satellite. There is almost a perfect vertical line between nighttime and daytime as you see the clouds illuminated from a rising sun. So now you know, a vernal equinox is when the northern hemisphere matches the daylight hours of the southern hemisphere. Now, as we continue going through fall, our days will get shorter because we start tilting away from the sun, ultimately until the winter solstice when we have the shortest day of the year and typically some of the coldest weather. But you know, Florida, it may be fall, but that doesn't necessarily mean the cold weather arrives anytime soon. We typically have to wait until after Halloween to get more of the consistent, reliable, cooler nights and more comfortable afternoons. All right, that's the latest from our Seasonal Forecast Center. Meteorologist Brooks Garner, back to you.
Thanks, Brooks. Yeah, I love it. I'm ready for some cooler days. I don't know if I want the shorter days, but hey, you know what? That's what comes with the turning of the seasons, right? And again, our question of the day, are you excited for fall? Are you ready for fall? And maybe you are. Noah says yes. Noah is weighing in and saying yes. I'm with Noah 1,000%.
It's fall, y'all.
It's fall, y'all. You know what? That's why we're orange. That's why Johnny heard me say it. I didn't get a pumpkin spice latte today, Noah, and I don't know why I didn't, because I really should have, and I'm kind of sad. I'm gonna look and see if anybody's weighed in, because it's funny. Someone at the gym today was telling me that they were just back in our neck of the woods. They were in Pennsylvania. They were in the Northeast. They said it felt great. The humidity was low, and I'm like,
It'll be fall in Orlando by Christmas.
Yeah, by Christmas. I feel like I've already done so many fall festivities here, and it has not felt like it. Now, speaking of fall and this time of the year, we're still in the heart of hurricane season, and that has certainly been a big story. We now have Gabrielle, a major hurricane, and this has been something we're going to continue to keep a close eye on through the remainder of the week. Thankfully, this is not going to be an impact to the U.S. This is going to skim past Bermuda, but if you have family, friends in Europe, this is a ways away from you, but still something to think of. If you have travel plans, this could be impacting you as maybe an extratropical system at that point. But nonetheless, a major storm right now, and this went through some of the warmth in the Atlantic, and that is why we've seen this strengthen up. And that's going to be the big story, really, through the remainder of our Monday and really through this week. Right now, a Category 3 storm, and we're going to get our next update from the Hurricane Center in just a couple of hours. The wind right now at 120 miles per hour. It's eventually going to get picked up and ushered away from us, at least ushered away from the United States with this dip in the jet stream, and eventually going to work around that ridge. So with that, it moves off to the north and east, weakening as it moves into a bit more sheer, cooler waters down to a Category 1 hurricane by Friday. So be sure you stay tuned for the latest in not just Gabrielle, but we have more waves in the tropics as well that we're going to be watching extremely closely. This looks to move up toward the Azores too. So just thankful that it's not impacting a lot of land, but there is still going to be at least some land implications as it moves farther away from the U.S. and from Bermuda. All right, it is just about 3:09. We'll be taking a break on Fox Local in just about a minute or so. If you don't want to miss anything, and I would advise you not to, grab your phone, grab your iPad, whatever smart device you can find. You can still pull us up on Facebook and YouTube while we're in the break on Fox Local. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever is on your mind, throw it in the comments, and we'll talk about it. But also, yesterday was kind of a crazy football day. Noah and I, I'm sure we'll talk a little football once we're off our stream here. But I'm already very excited for the game tonight in a cooler locale in Central Florida. The Birds, not the Eagles, but the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Detroit Lions.
Supposed to be a Raven.
All right, we'll be right back on Fox Local in just a couple minutes, so don't go away. But we will stay right here with you on Facebook and YouTube. And you know what? Hey Andy, how are you? No, yeah, not fall in the UK. We are back on Fox Local. Hi there. We've been having a fun conversation, so maybe you joined in on YouTube or Facebook while we were in the break. But if you have anything that's on your mind and you want to weigh in and you're watching us on Fox Local, pull us up on Facebook and YouTube, and you can weigh in then. But we have a comment from one of our faithful viewers, Andy, all the way in the UK. So our show has a bit of reach. We appreciate it. Andy, interesting weather for your flight into MCO tomorrow. Well, there is, and we'll show you our Fox weather model here in a second, Andy. There is a wave of upper level energy that'll be moving our way that tries to bring us at least a little more coverage of showers and thunderstorms. So we'll get to that in just a second. But we'll go back to the tropics because this is our big story right now. Not just Gabrielle churning, but a couple other waves in the central to western tropical Atlantic right now, and we'll be watching these closely. Now, it looks like there's a pretty solid chance that one of those waves, both of them, could become a depression before the week is over. We're looking at this chance right now where you see the shades of oranges and reds. That's the greater likelihood of a more organization, I should say, with both of these tropical waves that are fairly close to the Caribbean. And you can see what's left of Gabrielle moving away. But then chances do start to diminish. Kind of a similar setup. This is what we've had, it seems like, for a lot of the season. We've had this dip in the jet stream situated across the eastern third of the nation. We've had the dominant ridge. In between that, we've seen a lot of these waves that have formed where they have move out to sea, which is wonderful. It happened with Aaron. It's happening with Gabrielle. It's happened with a lot of the systems that we've seen this year. But all it takes is for the pattern to shift, for us to get more of a ridge across the eastern half of the nation, and then the Gulf is open for business again, and we could see, more storminess coming out of that portion of that part of the world, so to speak, because that area, which is usually more active, and this time I just got a memory. Noah, I got a Facebook memory about Helene today. I think it was one of the first outlooks probably, or maybe a day or two after the first one. So yes, and I got sad when I looked at that, because we all know how much devastation Helene brought to parts of the U.S., especially the Southeast. So that was on my mind today. Now you can see one of the reasons why Gabrielle was able to strengthen up so much. Look at the warmth in the Western Atlantic right now, around the Gulf Stream, and especially in the Caribbean. The Gulf's still warm, but not quite as warm as the Caribbean and the Western Atlantic. Now, comparing the last couple of years, we're still cooler than that, but it still is fuel to the fire, and that's why we were able to see Gabrielle strengthen pretty quickly. Now, the next name on the list is Umberto. From then on out, we have Imelda, we have Jerry and Karen, but this is only the second hurricane. Gabrielle now following Aaron as the second major hurricane this year. Noah, is it? We were expecting 2 to 4 major hurricanes.
I think it was 3 to 6.
3 to 6 major hurricanes. Okay, so we're almost in that range. We're not there yet, but we're pretty dang close. So watch, wait, and we will keep you informed every step of the way. All right, it's 3:15. We have a little bit left of about halfway through our Fox 35 Weather Plus on this Monday. And a little plug, while I have you, if you did not know, maybe you've seen it on Fox Local, we've been streaming the 407, our brand new show, but now we are going to be live on TV, the real deal, and it is launching, it is premiering today with Marlisa. So be sure to join us at 4 o'clock for a lot of fun on the 407. Okay, well, now we've talked about the tropics. I'm going to pop on over to Facebook and see if any of you have any questions. This is a good question. Twin Smile Aviation is asking, is Gabrielle a boy or a girl name? That would be a girl name. Is that right? Because Umberto is the next one, so this would be a...
You should tell them the WMO, actually, I think in their releases, like Fernan was a French name, but they also release what they intend the gender to associate with, I think.
Okay.
So the WMO, when they decide...
World Meteorological.
They decide the pronunciation and the attribution of gender, I believe.
Okay.
I think.
Twin Smile Aviation, go to the World Meteorological Organization, and that will break everything down. But
you can search it.
I'll search. Yeah, I'll search it right now. I guess.
Just like the Weather Service doesn't come up with the names.
Yeah.
That would be a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, that maybe that's a better thing to say. Yeah. But that's a great question. A great question. Okay, let me see anything on Facebook. Alice, happy Monday to you. Thanks for hopping on. William, this storm will not come to Denellen. Thankfully, Gabrielle is going to stay out in the open Atlantic and will be not in our hair here in the United States, which is wonderful news. But that's a great question. Wonderful question. All right, we have a couple minutes to our next break on Fox Local, and before we jump into that, we'll talk a little bit about the nice weekend we had and the somewhat continuation of that today. But we're starting to see some changes. We're starting to feel a little more moisture, or see a little more moisture in the atmosphere as a whole. This stall frontal boundary that's been off to our south is trying to wobble back to the north. We see a few showers and storms off to our south and east right now, just to the south and east of the Brevard County coastline, the Space Coast, down into Indian River County. But overall, it's actually still been a fairly quiet day. It hasn't been that bad of a day to be out and about, but it has still been hot. It's still been humid. Not the feeling like we had a couple weeks ago where 2 points were down in the 50s and 60s. You can see those showers and thunderstorms across the southern tip of Florida right now, and there's more showers and thunderstorms offshore. We're going to be watching this. There is a high to our north, and that's kind of why we had this northeasterly onshore flow, but we haven't been able to tap into the dry air like we did a couple weeks ago. But if you're hoping for a little relief from the humidity, we are watching a cold front later on this week that tries to make its way and likely will bring us a slightly higher chance for rain as we head through late week, potentially into the weekend. But our temperatures actually, believe it or not, they're a little bit above normal. And it looks like that's going to be the trend this week. So if you're not a fan of that, I'm sorry. If you're here on vacation, fairly typical for this time of the year. Nothing out of the ordinary, nothing we can't handle. We're starting to get closer and closer to the end of the rainy season, which is wonderful. All right, we'll be right back on Fox Local in just a couple minutes, but stay with us on YouTube and Facebook. And we're going to come back in and talk a little bit about the rest of our day into our Tuesday. Hi, Fox Local friends. Thanks for hanging out with us. Again, you're watching Fox 35 Weather Plus. We're just chatting and having a good time here at 3:22 on a Monday. Hopefully you've had a great day so far. Hopefully you had a great weekend. Here's the current setup. You can kind of see the potential for these isolated showers to widely scattered showers and thunderstorms through the evening drive. Not a lot of activity, but we could have a rogue storm, a downpour or two on that way home from work. So if you have to switch on the windshield wipers briefly, nothing we can't handle. Fairly typical for this time of the year. As we progress through the night, though, we lose the heating. We start to see these all fade away. And then tomorrow, it looks like we will have a little more spin in the atmosphere upstairs, a little more energy. So with that, we could see a little more coverage of showers and thunderstorms for our Tuesday. And that, as well as the sea breeze interaction, will help bring some of those as well. So kind of a messy setup, but overall not going to be a washout of a day. And it rarely is. Even on the wettest days, usually, unless we were dealing with something tropical, we're not seeing rain throughout the entirety of the day. William, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you like the bow tie. I wore orange today because of fall starting. I was between that and the Ravens bow tie, but I did not wear the Ravens bow tie. I wore the orange. And I appreciate it. I'm not 21, but I'm glad you think that I look 21. Hopefully I can hang on to that as long as as long as possible, William. Alrighty. Well, because it's 3:23 and we only have about 7 minutes left of our little weather chat here, a little Fox 35 Weather Plus update, I wanted to go back to the the tropics one more time. We'll end on the 7-day, but just because the tropics, that's been a big story, and Gabrielle now a major hurricane. We want to give you a little breakdown there one more time. So here is the current satellite imagery. Gabrielle, you can clearly see it has that classic buzzsaw look, churning in the open Atlantic right now, but the other two waves are to the east of Puerto Rico, and both of these right now have a chance of becoming something a little more meaningful. The wave to the north and east that will move to the north and east, that one, or move to the northwest and eventually likely to the north and east, that one has a 70% chance of development, while the southern wave has slightly lower chances for organization. Gabrielle, we're waiting on our next update from the National Hurricane Center. The wind, major Category 3 strength. And this is going to be the story as we progress through the rest of our Monday into Tuesday. This may make a run at Category 4 strength. And I think that's going to be something that happens over the next 24 hours before thankfully weakening as it moves to the east-northeast away from the U.S., away from Bermuda, and eventually starts to eye the Azores and eventually Europe. Still a tropical storm possibly by 8 a.m. this upcoming Saturday. So we're not out of the woods just yet with Gabrielle, even though thankfully it's a fish storm and it's not going to impact us here at home. We'll look at those tropical waves, and then we'll go back to our question of the day. So if you want to weigh in before we wind things on down, please do so. All right, here are the outlooked areas. A 70% chance of development with our wave in the red, our northern and eastern wave, the wave to the south and west, which that one seems like it may have a better chance of impacting some land and maybe even the southeast coast, whether it be here in Florida or the Carolinas, Georgia. It's so early to tell right now, but the potential is there maybe for this to skim some of the U.S. So it's something that we're going to be watching closely in the Storm Center. So be sure you keep checking back in with the team for all of the latest. Okay, it is 3:26. 4 minutes left. Thank you all for hanging out with me. And again, I know this is not all that old. This is what is our third week now, Johnny? Or second week? Third week? Maybe our third. Maybe we're heading into our third week. So get the word out. This is going to be happening every single day, Monday through Friday, from 3 to 3:30. Myself, Laurel, Noah will be here, and we'll be hanging out with you, chatting, talking weather, talking really anything too. If you've caught us on the weekends, you know our chats can go all over the place. We had a really fun conversation yesterday, but right now we're talking fall. And we are talking if you're excited for fall. Now, I'm a little biased, I have to say. My birthday is next month. And, William, I'm not turning 22. I will be turning 32. So, a little older than the low 20. Huh? William thought I was 21 years old. He said I look 21 years old.
William.
So, I think, huh?
William, come on.
What? William's making me blush on Fox Local's Facebook and YouTube because he thinks.
Ask William how old he thinks Noah is.
William, how?
How do you think I am, William?
How old? Wait a minute here. I got the full cam up here. You
Oh,
want to
you
come?
missed that? Oh, all right.
Damn it! Now the camera's up. Now the
How old
camera's
do you
up.
think I am,
Give him a
William?
good hairline shot.
Oh, okay, all right.
Johnny's throwing some. He's
In case anybody wants to know, that was Johnny Jackson, our producer.
producer Johnny,
he's gonna get
producer
it back for that.
extraordinaire. He's gonna get it back.
You've got 90 seconds to get me back.
Yeah, you get something good before we're off the air. I haven't. William's
I'm
quiet.
gonna take the high road here.
You're gonna take the high road. We know. Well, we don't have much
Like
time.
my hairline, I'm gonna take
I want
the
you.
high road.
I want you to talk about to the good people about how your trip to SeaWorld was. We don't have time.
Oh,
that
excellent.
much time to talk about it, but we should talk about it.
I'm banging into this
You're
thing
banging.
left and right.
Yeah, we have.
That was excellent. I went to the magical dining thing.
Was it good?
At
Sharks underwater, and they let you into the park.
That's great.
Well, maybe I'm not supposed to. Well, I guess you can. Yes, we went at like 4:45.
That's
So
awesome.
We ate, and then we had, because we didn't have to pay to go in the park, we had like an hour and a half before close. We rode like 2 rides, went and saw the penguins, did the meet the dolphins, met the
Yeah.
stingrays.
I loved it. I loved the photo of you on Journey to Atlantis. Did you get wet? Did you get soaked?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the girlfriend pretty good because early on, when it's dark, it's kind of like a splash. Well, at Disney, initially I thought it was like it felt a lot like the old splash, or what is it called now?
Yeah. Oh, Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Tiana's.
Yeah.
I haven't been on
Yep.
the new one. I haven't since it's changed at Disney, but I got her good. I told her to look this way. That there was a thing coming out and right in the face. It was good.
I'm sure Carly loved
Well, it's
that.
also half roller coaster. I
It
didn't
is.
realize
It's a
that.
hybrid. Isn't that called the hybrid roller
Yeah,
coaster?
nobody
yeah.
told me it was half roller coaster. That was
Did it
great.
shock you when you kind of went down that at the
little
very
bit, yeah,
end?
a little bit,
It's a
yeah.
nice little
Oh, yeah,
hill
no, it's a
there.
good little roller coaster too. Yeah.
Well, we have 15 seconds left. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you have a great rest of